Hi there, welcome back to the 67 Hail channel on YouTube with me, Hamish. Now, John has taken some annual leave, so it's just me, but I am delighted to announce that Jackie McNamara is joining me. Jackie, how's it going?
Good, thanks, yeah, all good.
Right, we're going to chat about Celtic, as is often the case in the channel. Before that, I need to chat about the major issue, Jackie. At the weekend, you and John Hartson on Pointless,
Yeah.
semi-final appearance. You let me down. You got to the last four and I was thinking you were going to do the business, and then, what was it, dogs came up, breeds of dogs, and it just wasn't to be.
I thought a bit unlucky because obviously if we had the first pick, I would have went with Irish setter. I didn't know the other two, and it was between Pug and Border Collie, which which would have been the right or the least likely answer. But even the next question with the Mac the Knife, they just guessed nail, which kind of killed us. You know, I could hear him saying a brick, and then she said a nail, and so a wee bit unlucky. You know, it was a sore way out, but at least they won it. They won the Pointless in the end. Although we didn't stay around to watch that at the time.
No,
we just get in and out. Myself and John have both had a brain surgery as well, so we done no too bad.
That's a very fair point. Aye, no, that's excellent. Yeah. Right, I want to chat about Scotland as well, just briefly. I thought quite disappointing result last night, disappointing performance as well, especially in the first half. 2 draws to start off the campaign, and for me anyway, it seems like we're kind of already playing catch up, and it already looks like a bit of a tough ask to certainly win the group. What are your thoughts on what we've seen?
I think it's a tough group anyway. I think I thought the first game, I thought we'd done well to come back twice. Last night, I didn't think they played well at all. I thought we looked better when he changed the shape. They went to a back four, looked more attacking, more of a threat, rather than trying to stifle. So I think that was a disappointing thing. I definitely think they looked better when we changed the shape and we get more bodies forward quicker rather than worrying about the opposition. So I do believe we've got the players there. I think we've got enough good players, a good squad, to do well. But it's just, again, finding the right formula, the right team, the right system that suits, everybody.
Yeah, I think we do have a good squad there, but that maybe just adds to the fact that we're maybe not getting the results we should be. Obviously, we've qualified for the Euros, which is a huge thing, but it was courtesy of 2 penalty shootouts. So hopefully we can turn it around in the World Cup. It's certainly not a complete disaster. We are still unbeaten. Right, I want to chat obviously about Celtic. Loads of rumours going on over the weekend. No Celtic games, but so many more names chucked out. We've had rumours flying about Eddie Howe being spotted in the Radisson Blue in Glasgow. We've had Thierry Henry apparently not ruling himself out of the Celtic job. I think the Slavia Prague manager's even been mentioned. These are mainly rumours. Is there any kind of recent name that's come up that's excited you about being the next Celtic manager?
Not particularly. I think it's hard to get excited until you know who it is. I think that's difficulty because names are always branded around, and it changes day to day. The other day it was Roy Keane who stopped taking bets. Then the next day it was Eddie Howe, and I think it's going to be like that until someone is named. I mean, I don't doubt that the club is speaking to a number of people. I think that'd be the right thing to do to find, the right candidate for the job. We spoke about Eddie Howe before. I know, obviously, I've seen him on my pro licence over in Belfast, and he was an impressive guy. I think he'd be good. I spoke about Roy Keane last week as well. I think he'd be, different types, but I still think he'd be good for Celtic if he did come in as well. So I don't see any negatives between the two. The other ones there that there's names branded around, like Thierry Henry. I'd be surprised at that kind of left field, but I think it'd be more likely to be the ones that we've heard already.
Are you hearing anything from inside Celtic or from anyone else about when they're hoping to appoint a manager, what stage they're at the moment?
No, it's been really quiet. I think the players, from my own experience, we're usually last to know. He said, even back when after Vin Janssen left and Dr. Joe, it wasn't to that morning that we found out that it was Dr. Joe coming in, the rumours were it was Rutula at the time, and different other names were branded around, and Gerard Howe. Then it became clear it was Dr. Joe when he arrived.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Henry a minute ago, and you kind of gave some thoughts there, but just on the kind of general idea of, one of those players for that generation, I suppose your generation of players who have started to go into management, like Derby have appointed Wayne Rooney. Obviously across the city, Steven Gerrard was a big name, a former player that's gone into coaching. Henry's another one, Lampard at Derby and then Chelsea. Do you think a manager like that could work for Celtic, like a big football name that could work as a manager when we make that big change in the summer?
Yeah, I think it could. I think it's shown that it can be successful. I think if he's got good people around him to come in and coach, depending on what type they are, if they're hands-on, in terms of the coaching and developing, if that's the remit to do that, but I think a lot will depend on recruitment of the players as well, what type of players they're bringing in. Usually when players they don't need a lot of coaching, they come at a big value, which has not been the case, obviously, with the club in the past.
Yeah, it's almost like, obviously the manager's a big call this summer, and that's the one that the supporters are most interested in, but do you feel that it's the overall package? It's like who comes in with them in terms of coaches? Do they get their own team? Do they come in with a director of football, a sporting director? What's Dominic Mackay like? Do you feel like it's kind of the more overall package as opposed to just the single manager?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like an end of an era, if you like, with with Peter going. He's announced that he was leaving the club. With Neil leaving, obviously Scott Brown leaving, there's big changes going on, and I think that'll possibly continue. And look at recruitment side of it. We've spoken a number of times about a sporting director or a director of football, which has been mentioned as well. So I do think that's important for the new chief exec coming in as well later on in the year. So there's going to be massive changes at the club. Right throughout the football department.
Yeah, I just wanted to chat about the Dermot Desmond Q&A as well. I don't know if you saw it or not. I think it was last Tuesday or Wednesday. Fair to say there probably wasn't a great deal actually said in it. I think it was 7 or 8 question and answers, and he didn't really give a great deal away. Did you see it, and what did you make of it if you did?
Yeah, I think it was along the lines of everything's been okay before. We're getting on with things behind the scenes. That's what I kind of took from it. If you're reading it, I got the impression that the behind the scenes are obviously doing quite a bit and doing the meetings and doing it properly. And that's what you would hope, rather than being out in the public domain. But I think everybody's just sort of anxious to see who it is and want to have that change, something to look forward to in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy summer ahead for us with all the change. We've spoken about that. Celtic are back this weekend. It does seem a long way away, and it's not exactly the most glamorous of games at home to Falkirk Saturday night in the Scottish Cup, but it is it's an important game, I suppose, and we haven't had any of them really for a while. It's a game that actually matters because there is a trophy on the line, not directly in this game, but we're 5 wins away from winning the Scottish Cup. Scott Brown leaving, we're going to touch on that later in the week in a separate video, but the fact that he's leaving and his final act could be to play in a Scottish Cup final, it's quite a kind of important game on Saturday, isn't it, that the team win that, get through to the next round and hopefully try and finish this horror season off with some sort of positivity.
Absolutely, yeah. I think you want to win every trophy that you're involved in, and the club's been pretty successful in the last number of years, up until the League Cup this year. It was the first time that they've been knocked out in quite a while. So, and that, I think you see that as some achievement. You can see that even how good Rangers have been this year. They still get put out the League Cup, away to St Mirren. So it shows you how consistent the team's been in all competitions to win in the league, to win in all the cups over the years. So. But I think it'd be good for the club and the fans, to try and finish the season on a high. The players that are there, as you said, it'd be good for Scott to lift the trophy before he leaves as well. I think he's been a great servant, and a fitting way to finish.
Was your last thing you did at Celtic lifting a Scottish Cup trophy? Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Pretty
I
weird
didn't.
way
I
to
didn't know I was
finish.
leaving. I didn't know I was
Aye.
leaving then, but slightly different circumstances from Scott. I'd been there 10 years, but yeah, mine was lifting the trophy. Then my contract was up and it wasn't renewed a couple of weeks later. So that was my last match. Was in the same game as Martin O'Neill and the rest of the staff's match as well.
So a bit different for you in the fact that you didn't know you were leaving. Obviously Martin O'Neill would have known he was leaving. Scott Brown, if he gets to that stage, will know he's leaving. But for you looking back, it must be still a nice memory to think your last ever thing was being with the Scottish Cup.
Yeah, it was, and I think when you come to the end of an era or the end of your time there, it's nice to say goodbye and do it the right way. Obviously, I didn't know that was my end game or my last game. I wish I had and prepared that, in that way to say cheerio. But Scott, at least, he's made his mind up. He's decided for, I think for himself that he wants to do this. The player coach role, which I think, to be honest, I think he's the right thing to do is to play as long as he can. And you maybe feel he won't play next season at Celtic, but he'll be able to dip his hand into the coaching side as well as play at Aberdeen. So I think I think that's a good thing for him to go and learn that side of it while he's still playing, and then you never know, one day he might be back at Celtic as a manager.
Yeah, well, as I say, we're going to chat, go in depth on the Scott Brown stuff later in the week. It is another Jackie McNamara derby on Saturday night, isn't it? Former Falkirk player as well. No worries about that, is there? We should see off what are the League One side at home?
Yeah, they should. They shouldn't have any problems at home. I've got some experienced players in their squad, Falkirk, but it shouldn't be a problem going to get into the next round, especially at home.
Well, here's hoping. Jackie, thanks very much. Thanks everyone for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you've not done it yet, and we'll speak to you very soon.